So all of you can participate. Continue, Madhuri.
Yeah. So I got a reply from Shreya saying yes. So we start saving quite early as kids. It's not actually after we get jobs or something like that. As kids, if we have little wants or wishes, we start saving and putting money aside. We start telling our parents, what, I want to buy this next year for my birthday. So or for this birthday or something like that. And if we say okay, either your parents say okay, so you could do that, or what you could do is, I don't know how many of you get any kind of allowance at home, or savings or pocket money, or you've had the piggy bank at home where you put the coins, and end of the month you can, or end of the year you can see how much money you've collected. So basically you start saving quite early, but we do not realize that we are actually saving money for something that is a short-term goal. Well, now, what is a short-term goal? I want a PS this year, or I want some toy, so I'm going to save some money. So whatever comes out of your piggy bank is your savings. So saving starts at a very young age. Saving up for your pocket from your pocket money for a favorite toy, gadget, etc., is called saving. That's a very basic thing that we do. Now, saving is setting aside a portion of your current income. So how do our parents do it? Is whatever income they receive, they put aside of money. They put aside some money, saying that okay, I'm going to save this from my income, and what am I going to do is I'm going to budget in for my expenses, my savings, and my investments. So as a youngster, you can also do that. So either from the allowances you get or your pocket money, you could save amount that you say that I'm going to spend it end of the month. By end of the month, I'm going to only spend this month. And for the rest, I'm going to save it and keep it for my future use. Maybe I have some other short-term goals, saying that, let's say next year I want to buy the next iPad, or I want to save for my education, and all of that. Now, how many of you know that in the US and UK, many of the students actually take a loan for their higher education, that is post graduation, and they pay it off once they get a job. So this is the common practice done usually in the US and UK, that it's parents don't give you the money to basically do your post graduation or your graduation. It's that they start doing jobs, or get allowances and all of it, and that's how they you know either save or then take a loan and then pay it back. So taking a loan and paying back is actually not the right format to do it. If you're someone who can plan it earlier, because if you learn about money, and if you learn about saving and investing early, what you would do is you would save quite early, starting from the age of 8, 10, 12, 14. And once you start saving it, you can invest it, help from your parents to invest it, and then you can pay for your post graduation or your graduation. Or let's say you want to do a trip after your graduation or your post graduation, or you want to buy something for yourself after graduation or post graduation, or it could be anything, any goals basically. So you can plan accordingly and you can save. So saving is the first basic part that you do. Now, uh, how can you, is saving only important? No, because if you plant a seed and you water it once, let's say, is it going to be enough? No, you have to water it every day. So once you've planted the seed, that means you've started saving. But once you start watering it every day, that means you have started investing. Now, what is an investment? Investment is done, but firstly, it has to be with a goal. Firstly, you have to say, okay, my goal is that I would save about 500 dirhams to get my favorite CD for the PlayStation, maybe in next few months. That is a short-term goal. A long-term goal would be that I am 10 or 12 years old and I want to pay for my post-graduation by myself, or a partial post-graduation by myself. So what do? You start saving a very small amount, starting early, and you invest it, I'll tell you the different forms where you can invest it. So once you invest it, your money starts growing. That means you're watering the plant every day and your money starts growing. So once that happens, the money starts building up and you can pay for your long-term goals. That is, let's say post-graduation, graduation, or you could say after post-graduation or graduation, I want to get, a car for myself, or I want to go on a trip with my parents and I want to sponsor it. So these are different types of goals that students have or kids have usually. For example, you could say, I'm going to invest this money for my post-graduation. And once I grow big, that is about post-graduation, graduation is about 17, 18 years old, and post-graduation is 22. So you're already saving up and investing for 10 years, almost 10 years, 8 to 10 years. So the money that you invest gets so huge. I'll show you in the next slides how that you actually can pay your fees completely without actually your parents' help. It grows up that big. But for that, you have to do goal setting. And you have to say, okay, I'm going to invest every month this much or every year this much. So you have to put in that number right there and you have to say that I'm going to invest this much. Now, investing is basically putting your savings into action. It is basically so once you've seeded the plant, you are actioning by watering it. So investing is basically that. So the only challenge in investing is finding where and how much you have to invest, at what age, what time, basically that, how much money and how much will that grow at, maybe 8 or 10 years down the line. Okay. We'll talk about that in the next slide. That is
572 subscribers.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that how much and how in the next slide. But before that, I want to ask, is saving only important? You can answer, guys. You can go off the mic, switch off you can unmute and you can say, is saving only important? Okay, so Shrey says no. Yes. So no, saving is not important. The only important thing that you have to do. I'll tell you why. Now, we have taken the seed example. We planted the seed and we started watering it. It grew. It grew like, a small baby plant. And now you stopped watering it. So what will happen? The plant starts dying. In few days, the plant would die, right? In the same way, if you just save, what is going to happen is inflation. A term called inflation takes effect. Now, what is inflation? Inflation is basically the same, the same product. Let's say a cup of coffee that I've given an example over here would cost 0.25, that is 25 cents in 1970s. And now today in 2019, it is costing you about $1.59. So it's the same cup of coffee, same quality, nothing, no changes, the same size and everything. But earlier it used to cost 25 cents and now it costs about $1.60. Why is that so? Because the value of money, let's say, goes down. Value of the currency goes down. So once you stop watering the, let's say, the plant starts dying. So you have to keep watering it. That is watering as in investing your money. So I'll give you an example. For another example is like, while I was doing my post-graduation 5 years back, my post-graduation costed around $20,000 to $25,000. Okay. But the same post-graduation today in the same university, the same graduation that you have to do costs about $35,000 today. So it's the same thing, but just because 5 years down the line, the value of the money, that is how much the graduation cost has increased, that is basically what is inflation. Any questions here? Any questions, guys? Okay. I didn't hear anything. Okay. So if the savings are put in action and managed properly, the same savings would sponsor your post-graduation. So unless you save that money and put it into action, That is, action is basically invest. Action is always investing. Action is starting the vehicle and moving the vehicle. And how would that happen? Is investing. So unless you do it properly, starting from a very young age, putting all the goals aside, you cannot achieve those goals. So inflation, basically, again, I'm just repeating the whole inflation point because it's a very important term that you have to understand in a financial concept. Is, let's say, so today you have decided that 5 years down the line, you want to do graduation from so-and-so college. So you would start saving and investing today so that you meet the goal of, paying for that post-graduation 5 years down the line. And for that time, the cost is not going to be the same as today. It could be $20,000 today, but inflation coming in act, it would be $35,000. So you have to goal for $35,000, and that is when you have to start saving accordingly. All right. Okay. So a point mentioned here that I've mentioned is your savings of today may not meet your future demand because of inflation. As I mentioned, the cup of coffee, like today, if you only had 25 cents, you cannot buy a cup of coffee because the same cup of coffee today is $1.59. All right. So I'm going to talk about something called the rule of 72. Now, why should you know rule of 72? It is a calculation done basically to understand that how much time does my money, if I save, require to grow for that goal that I want. So let's say you want to save about $20,000 in the next 5 years or 6 years, $20,000 that you want to save in the next 6 years. So you can pay partial fees of your own education by yourself. How much do I have to save today? So you can know this by the rule of 72. I'll show you how. But I've given you a very important, saying by Ben Franklin is money makes money, and the money that makes money. That is basically putting in action your money that you have saved by investing will make money for you. And that money, again, putting into action is going to make money for you more. The money is going to grow by putting into action. So money is the one will always make money. Okay. So rule of 72, guys, be very attentive because after this, I'm going to give some numbers and you have to answer me with how many years will it take to achieve that. Okay. So now rule of 72 is a very simple rule. To approximate how long it takes for an investment to double at a given investment rate. That is, how much time is it gonna take for me to double my money? Let's say today, if I put $10,000, how much time is it gonna take to double my money? That is $20,000. This is gonna help you do that mathematically. So what do you simply do is, I want it doubled in 5 years. Okay. So I simply do 72 divided by 5. Anyone can do that for me? How much is it? 72 divided by 5. You can answer in the chat box.
14.4.
Yes, it is 14.4. So basically, the money you have saved, you have to invest somewhere where you would get 14.4% return. Return is basically you have invested the money, but you get interest on it basically, and the money grows by 14.4%. So that is what is rule of 72. So let's do it the other way around also. Now today I'm getting a rate of 6% from, let's say I put my money in the piggy bank. From the piggy bank, I've saved about few dollars, $5,000, and I put it into a bank in India or a bank in US. I put that money there and it is growing at the rate of 6%. So how much time is it gonna take for the money to get double? So anyone? 72, how would you do it? 72 divided by what? I've given the interest rate, that is 5%. Let's just, yeah, 5%. Yeah, it would be not 12 years, it would actually be 14.4%. It's the same term that you could do 72 divided by the rate that you are receiving, that is 5%, would give you the time that it is going to grow in, that is 14.4%. Let's try another number. I am putting my savings into stocks and they are giving me 12% returns. So in how much time your money will grow double? Anyone? 12%.
6 years.
Yes, it is 6 years. So 72 divided by 6 would give you, 72 divided by 12, that is the return you're getting from stocks, would give you 6 years. In 6 years, your money that you put $5,000 would grow to double and would be $10,000. Okay. So you could do it by the rate, 72 divided by the rate to give you time, or 72 divided by that time would give you the rate. So basically, how would this help us? You would know that, okay, today I am saying $5,000. In 5 years, if I'm investing in stocks, that is 14%, I'm going to get a return of, so it is going to take 5 years for me to double my amount. So you would know the goal setting, that how much time do you really need for your money to double. Is everyone getting this? Any doubts? Anything? Any questions? Now I've given a very simple table over here, which will help you understand the rule of 72. Okay, so year 0, I put my money, $10,000, in maybe a US bank, which was giving about, or a US bond, which is giving about 1.5% in return, basically. Basically, it's your money that you make on the money you've invested. So it's about 1.5%. So how much time is it going to take for it to double is 48 years. 20,000 at 48 years. The same money, if I put it in a fixed deposit, or let's say in stocks, $10,000.
Just a minute, Madhuri. I think somebody has the mic on. Galaxy Note 8. If you can mute them, there's a background noise that's
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Becoming unmuted. Okay.
Yeah. So if the same money, $10,000, you put in the stock market, that is buying one stock. Let's say you like an Apple product and you bought an Apple stock while right now. So and you bought it for $10,000 and you're getting a 12% return year on year from this company. So that money would double in about 6 years. In 6 years, you'll have $20,000 with you. So partly your post-graduation is sponsored by yourself. So that would happen. So the same money, if you put in $10,000 and you left it, so that for, let's say, until your retirement, okay, that would be about $2.56 million. The 10,000 growing every year at 12% rate in 48 years would grow up to 2.56 million. Okay, so before the next slide, I would ask, how many wonders are there in the world? How many wonders are there? Are there 5, 6, 7? How many wonders are there? You can answer in the chat box. Freya says 7. Anyone else answering? Anushri says 7. Okay, Freya also says 7. Okay, Krish says 7. All right. So let me tell you that there, in the finance world, we've added, not we, but Albert Einstein has told that there's another wonder, which is the 8th wonder, which is compounding interest is the 8th wonder of the world. He who understands it, earns it. He who doesn't understand it, pays it. Okay. So now I'll tell you what exactly is this 8th wonder. Make it a note, guys. Today, of course, don't go in the exam and write that there are 7 wonders, but it is for our understanding, that to make us understand how serious the power of compounding, or the compounding interest is effective. That is the reason Albert Einstein had said that it is the eighth wonder of the world. So have you ever tried rolling a snowball from the mountain peak, snow mountain peak, towards the end of the mountain, basically? Have you ever tried rolling it? The picture would also show you that how it reacts. So the once you start rolling it, the snowball becomes bigger and bigger, bigger and bigger, and starting it'll be very soft, but slowly it hardens as it rolls down because of the force and because of the for gravity that everyone knows, that it becomes bigger, and by the time it reaches the bottom of the hill, we find that it is transferred into a huge hard snowball with an incredible speed. So if you come in front of that small snowball, nothing would happen to you. But if you come in front of the bigger snowball, it would actually crush you. So it would actually be that huge and that hard. So power of compounding is the same effect. So once you start putting your money, let's say $500 today, and you start adding to it, you start putting $500 every 3 months, or let's say you can pick the time and how much you want to do it according to your goals, and you start putting into that bank account, or let's say stocks or any kind of investment. What happens is it becomes so huge by the time that you actually want or require that money, that it pays for whatever you want. I gave the same example earlier, but I'll give it again in the next slide. So if you see, the maximum growth happens from here. That is the last second snowball. This is the last snowball. It's doubled. So the same effect happens when you are actually doubling. So let's say I'm back to the same table. Okay, I've put in $10,000. Okay, and I've left it without actually adding, because I've added a bulk, $10,000. In 6 years, it gets doubled, $20,000. In 12 years, it gets doubled from what? It gets like 20, and then doubled 40, double from 40, 80, and then 160, 320, 640, 120, and when you say 120 and it doubles, it goes to 2560. So though it's growing with a small percentage, that is 12% per year, but when you see when you see the whole picture and you say, I've only put in $10,000 today, I'll leave it until my retirement, or I'll leave it until, maybe I would go on a world tour when I am so-and-so age. So the whole world tour maybe would get sponsored thrice for this amount, twice its price for sure. So that's the power that the compounding effect has. So as you put in today and you leave it for a longer time, you could put it in stocks, fixed income, and all of those, and the compounding takes an effect. So the snowball is now increasing. It's increasing at the speed of 12%. Okay, so we'll consider this to be the speed, and it is increasing, and it grows up so big that it is 2.56 million basically. Okay, I hope everybody's got this. So I'll move up to the next slide. So is it that simple? Is it that simple to just invest money anywhere and leave it and it just keeps growing? Now, there is always something to consider. There is nothing without a risk. Let's say if I just sit in the class today, will I just pass my exams? No, there's a risk. If you just attend your classes and not study, you might not pass the exams. But if you attend the classes and you study every day, yes, you'll surely pass your exams and you could top the exams. So the same way as there is a risk of not investing time in yourself for studying, there's the same risk when you don't invest money at the right place, basically. So investing always comes with a risk. So now the risk could be higher or lower. According to the risk, there would be the return. Higher the risk, higher the return. Lower the risk, lower the return. Now, what could be the risk? Let's say you put money somewhere that, it's the same way. If you put money in your pocket and you send the your garments for dry cleaning, the money could come back or could not come back, from the dry cleaners. So it's the same way. If you put your money, invest it without knowing where to invest, there is a risk. The higher the risk, that is called unsystematic risk. Okay. Now I'm not going into too much detail of unsystematic risk, but basically unsystematic risk is when you don't know where exactly to invest and how exactly to do it. Systematic risk is knowing how to do it and knowing at least the person who could do it for you. They would do it and they would put it at a systematic risk place that your money could grow bigger, basically. So lowest to highest returns, fixed deposit gives you the lowest returns with low risk. Okay, I'll go through the graph later. Next is the bonds. Again, medium risk, medium returns. Shares, highest risk, highest returns. So again, we'll go through on the graph. If you could look at the graph, I'm pointing out where exactly it is. So the risk I'm taking for the cash or bank. So cash basically means you're depositing it in a bank. So there is, if you see at the graph on the graph, I'm getting moved. So okay, so this is the risk line, and this is the return line. Okay, so the lower the risk, the lower the returns. So let's say, a bank would give you about 3% returns at that kind of risk. Now you put your money in the bonds. It is medium risk at medium returns. Let's say about 6%. Same way, stocks, higher risk, higher returns. Now, this could be about 12 or 14 or 20 or 25% returns. So, how can you choose? How would you know? Is it safe or not? Where do I put my money? Now, there's one question: is our money safe in a bank? Is it 100% safe? If it is a government bank, yes. If it is a private bank, even there is a certain risk. So there is always risk. But that risk is very minimum when it comes to a bank, basically. So the returns are also lower. Okay. So now how would you know what kind of, so you'd say, okay, I'm a student. Can I take more risk? Or I'm studying right now. So can I take more risk to basically get that kind of a return? So I would say it depends on your first goals, what kind of goals, and in how many years you have to achieve it. Second is how much interest or how much risk can you actually take as a person. I would say, okay, maybe I would take more risk, but when I put my money into investments, I'm looking at my investment every day. Oh, did it grow? Oh, did it grow? Is my money safe? So that when that happens, that means actually your risk appetite is a little bit less. So you have to set your goals and accordingly take risk. But because you are younger and you don't have responsibilities at the moment, you could take slightly higher risk, basically, is because you can make that money back or you could earn that money back. And you could make more money by investing in, let's say, stocks or mutual funds and all of this. So when that happens, your money would grow in that speed to achieve your goals. So your money should grow according to your goals. It should never grow less. It can grow higher, it's okay. But if your goals are set that in 5 years I have to pay for my post-graduation, but your money is not growing with that speed, let's say, you need the money to grow at a 12% return every year, but it's only growing at 3 or 4 or 6%, then your goal will not be met. Then you will be like, oh, I don't have the money. 5 years down the line will be, oh, I don't have the money enough for my post-graduation, let's say. So first thing is your goals have to be set. Second thing is your risk has to be decided, that how much risk you want to take according to your goals. Third is, are your goals being met you have to keep checking on them. Are your goals being met? If no, then you should, plan accordingly. Okay. So because now you are young, you can start early, you can take a bit more risk and you can get more returns. But can your, let's say if someone who's just going to retire in a year's time uh, and has a lot of responsibilities, it could be their kids' marriage, it could be, because the retirement, the money, is going to be basically, they're not going to make any or more money after next year. In terms of income, salary or something like that. That can they take huge risk? No, they have to go with a medium risk. Now that usually a financial advisor would advise that how much of a risk as a person you can take after they put in evaluation that what are your goals and when should it be met and all that. Okay, so now who is Warren Buffett? Warren Buffett is basically the, he's the guru, investment guru for most of the investors. And where is he from? Why are we studying about him? I'll tell you a bit background about him. He's called the Oracle of Omaha. Omaha is from the place he was born and brought up. It's in US. And he's one of the most successful investors of all time. So he runs a company which owns about 60 other subsidiaries. Subsidiaries as in companies that come under his company. For example, Duracell. I'm sure you all use Duracell batteries for your toys and your remote cars and rest of the things. So he owns Duracell 100%. He owns part of Coca-Cola. He owns part of Apple. He owns your Kraft cheese. So he owns these big companies. Now, why did he become such a big investor and why do people follow him so much? I mean, there are many many newspaper channels or many newspaper, articles about Warren Buffett. And why does everyone talk about where is he investing? It is because the kind of investor he is and how he became a guru. So the first stock ever bought by Warren Buffett was he was at 11. He was 11 years old basically, and he bought his first stock. And what exactly age he started paying taxes in US is at the age of 13. So he started making so much money at the age of 13 because of investing in stocks, is that he had to pay taxes. So that's his first investment at the age of 11. And how did he do it? So he went to a supermarket and he saw that which good is bought most. Let's say I go to a supermarket and say, I want to just see today that how many people are buying Coca-Cola and how many people are buying Pepsi. I would make a note of everyday purchases that Coke is being bought most or Pepsi is being bought most in the region or in the supermarket basically that he is visiting. And that would happen every day. He would go there every day for a few days or a month. And at the end of the month, he bought a stock, let's say Coca-Cola. He invested because that was the most bought, cool drink in that supermarket. So that is how he started investing at a very young age. Today, we have internet where everything is there, every information is available that how a company is doing. You can read more or you can invest in stocks or that you like the most, the products that you really like the most. Let's say your parents and you and everyone at home uses Apple a lot. So you could invest in Apple, saying that no, I really like Apple as a gadget, as a phone and a MacBook and everything. What I use a MacBook every day. So that's how you start investing. That is how you should invest basically. So he promised. So because he makes so much money today, he promised to donate over 99% of his wealth today because he makes that kind of money. So far, he has given about $41 billion away in donations. And I'm sure, many of you might heard about Bill Gates. So in 2010, Warren Buffett and Bill Gates came together, launching a giving pledge, launching something called Giving Pledge, where all the billionaires they come together and they donate half of their wealth into charity. So he knows he's making money out of money. So he decided to do these good things. Now here are a few tips by Warren Buffett. I wouldn't read all of them. You can read them, but I would give a couple of them which are very important. Do not put all your eggs in one basket. That means do not just in the long run, do not just buy one stock or one bond, or you don't put all your money into one place and sit. So that what it means, So don't put all your eggs in one basket. If the basket falls, all the eggs break. But if you carry two baskets with half of eggs in one basket, half of the eggs in one basket, at least if one basket breaks, there's one basket left for you still. Okay. So yeah, that is one important thing. And another important thing that you should always know is never depend on one single income. Make investments to create a second source. So if you are going to get a salary tomorrow, or let's say you want to start your own business, never be dependent on one single income. Always do investments to have a second source, because we learned the saying that Ben Franklin, who's the father of investment, he said, money makes money, that makes money makes money. Okay. So that is very important. So there are two movies that as a kid you should see about investment, and which will teach you about saving money and investment. Has anyone seen Up? Has anyone seen Up here, the movie Up?
Yes.
Yeah. So did you see that he sells his balloons and he saves money to go on a trip with his wife? He starts saving from the day he actually gets married, and he keeps saving it in his house itself, in that jar. He keeps putting the coins in that jar every day, and he doesn't actually invest it anywhere. He keeps it in that jar, and by the end of his retirement, he has different commitments and goals that he has to break this jar, and he has to pay from the jar itself. But the same thing, if he would have invested that money from that jar somewhere else, then the goals, the short-term goals, that is his furniture breaking or his house having repairs, they could all have been met from that investment. Now, he couldn't meet his goals is because his wife dies, and he retires, and he doesn't have money to make that trip. Because he's still saving in that jar and he didn't invest it. So the same way, if you put the money in a piggy bank, or you put it safe with you at home, or you just put it in cash, it is not going to meet your goals. So that is what the movie teaches. Yes, because it is a movie, in the end he just ties all his balloons to his house in the house flight, but in real life that doesn't happen. That happens in the way when you invest and your balloons grow so many, just infinites, so that you grow in life that way. If you guys have not watched it, please watch movie Up, and also do watch movie The Princess and the Frog. So both the movies give you the right motivation and the right, it would help you and show you the difference, why you should not just put money in cash, and why you should save, and why you should invest in the form of a movie. Okay, so that's a tip that I could give you. So the formula for creating wealth. This is a formula, guys. This is like one formula given to you guys today. Start early. That means start early as in the age. Okay, start early today. You could say today or tomorrow that I'm going to start saving and investing. Invest regularly, planting, basically watering your plant regularly. That would create wealth for you. Okay, that's the formula. That's the basic formula of creating wealth. It's very easy, and if you're consistent, you would make a lot of money. Make your money work hard for you. You don't work hard. You have to work hard, not that you shouldn't, but you should make your money work more harder for you. So any questions here that you want to ask, you can go ahead. I'm here to answer them.
I think, Madhuri, you've done a good job. So nobody has any questions, is it?
Okay. Thank you,
Yes.
Priya. And
where can we invest? Nalin is asking.
As kids, where can we invest? So as kids, you can invest anywhere. There is no restriction, but you would just need your parents' help to invest. You could save up and you could give the money every month to your parents saying that I want to invest this. So can you please do that for me? You could say, they could reach out to their financial advisor, or you could say, I really like this gadget. Let's say Apple. I want to invest in Apple stocks. So can you do that for me? So they can buy stocks for you. Or you could say, I want a minimum return. So can you put this money in the bank for a certain time so I could get a PlayStation maybe in 6 months' time, but at least it is growing. It is not stopping there. So as kids, you can invest anywhere, but yeah, you just need um, your parents' help to it until you reach the age of I think 16 or 18 that is allowed, but you can directly invest in the stock market. How in what we have to invest at the age of 50? Uh, age of 50. Now that's a completely portfolio designing that has to be done for that age. Basically, you can reach out to us directly from the email address that is given here, and we could help you out. What is the best amount of money to invest? It depends on your goals. So set your goals first. Is how much money do you need for, let's say, today you are 16 or 18 and you say, I want to invest for my marriage or my kids or my retirement. Your plans could be long term. So once you have long term plans, you could say that I want to invest. So according to the long term plans, you have to invest the money from today. Use the rule of 72. You would know how much time would it take your money to double, and then you could decide of how much money you would want to invest today. But the whole point is you should be investing small, start early, and let the money double for you. Let the money do the work for you. I hope that answers the question. Okay, I don't see any more further questions, but if uh, any more questions, you could surely write in on the email given, or you could reach out to your parents, and your parents could reach out to us any way that you like. So thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a great evening.